Hello everyone, this is Robert from 50 Years of Chess. I'm sorry I haven't put a game on recently, I've been busy, but also I am running a little low now on games that I've played over the years. But I will put other games on to make the site interesting for you. This game I'm going to show you now was one I managed to find the other day. It was a game played in 2012, it's on the 14th of November. And it was a Bristol Chess League match, a Division 2 match where I was playing for South Bristol B team against the Bath B team. And my opponent was Peter Diomond. Peter was rated around 1750 at that time, and I was 1840. Now, there's a picture of Peter there on the board, as you can see above. He's a little bit older there. I'd say this was an older picture, definitely. He had a bit more hair, I think, than what he's got there, as I did also. So Peter was white, and I'm going to show you the game now. So we'd actually played twice. We played a year or so after, and I lost that game to him. I made a silly mistake, and I couldn't recover because he wouldn't allow me to, which shows that he's a decent player, very decent player. So let's have a look at this game then. Peter was white and he started with d4. I played d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4. Now, of course, c7 is the pawn that really matters because he's threatening to go knight b5. I can play a6 or c6, but in this case I'm going to play bishop d6 and offer my bishop to swap. He chose not to take it. He went bishop g5, which gives me the perfect opportunity to set a trap known as the elephant gambit. If you've never heard of it, I'm going to show you it now and how effective it can be against an opponent who doesn't know anything about it. So pay attention and watch carefully and see what can be done. So I played knight on b to d7. Now if you look at that, you would say pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. Knight can't play knight takes knight because a bishop takes queen. There is a pin. So let's see what happened. He did take the pawn, and he also took it again with the knight. So that puts me a pawn down if the trap didn't work, but it does, and I'll show you why. So you could say, Rob, if you play knight takes knight, he's going to take your queen. Yes, I know that, but I don't care. I took it, and he took. And then I played bishop b4 check, and the only way to stop this check on the king is to put the queen in front, because I've got check with the bishop takes queen. He retook, and then I took the bishop, and if you have a look, I've got 1, 2, 3 minor pieces, and he has 2. I'm minus a pawn, so I've come out of this really, really well, and it's a lovely trap. Many people know it, but not everyone, and in this case Peter didn't know it, and he does now. So he played e3, and I went knight d7 to b6 so as I can get the bishop out at some point. And he played knight f3, and I played f6. This just curtails the knight, stops it from going on a black square on e5 or g5, threatening to go knight takes pawn and winning my rook and all that stuff. So all that's been stopped. He now played h6 because he doesn't like the idea of bishop g4. So I brought my rook across and brought it into the game nicely on e8. He's played a3 again to stop any knight maneuvers to b4. And I've played bishop e6, so I'm getting on my development nicely here. He's played bishop d3, threatening the h7 pawn. I can play h6, but that would weaken my white squares very badly, so I played g6. He brought his rook across from h1 to c1, and I brought my rook in accordance with his rook and played it rook from a8 to c8. b4, he's pushing his pawns, and then I dropped my knight back to e7 so as to give my bishop a nice diagonal range right across from a2 to g8. Beautiful bishop that controls both sides of the board, very nicely placed there. He's played rook c3, and now I brought my knight in from b6 to d5, attacking that rook, making him go back to c2. I now played c6, which is very nice because that means if I want to, I can go king to c7 and then to b8, but I don't need to do that. It's just a thought. It also means I can play my knight now on d5 to two places, not just b6 but to c7. So he's played rook to a1 to c1, doubling his rooks. So I played a6 to stop any pawn push. He's gone knight back to g1. He's rerouting his knight, or rerouting it as the Americans would say, to g1, looking to go to e2 and then to c3 at some point. King d7. So I've just about completed my development now. Very, very pleased, got a solid position, piece up, in all rights should win this. And he's played knight into e2. So, knight into e2, and I played f5, getting a grip on that centre, stopping him to get any pawn push to e4. He's moved his rook from c1 to b1. He's just moving pieces around now because he's shut in, totally shut in. He's got no counterplay of any kind. He's a piece down and he's just holding on. So I played a knight back to b6. This prevents a4. I can take it and he won't be able to stop me doing that. So now he's played his knight into c3. Now my knight is moved. But I brought the other knight now into d5, offering a piece swap. This would be great if I could trade off pieces all the way down until we get to king and pawns. I'd have one piece, a minor piece left, or one rook, and he'd have none, only pawns. So it pays to try and trade off if you can. So on the other hand, if you're on the other end of it, you don't want to trade off. And Peter played his knight back to e2. Knight back to c6, king e1, then knight back. Now, this might say, why do you keep going back for? Well, this is because I'm what you call jockeying my pieces around to see if he's going to move in a different way that I can react to. So he's gone back again to d2, and I wasn't going to go back with my knight because if we keep doing that, after 3 times it would be classed as a draw by perpetual moves. So he's gone back after b5. He's gone back to e1. Knight c6 again. Back with the king. He's gone back with the king. That's all he can do really. He's got nothing else at this time. He's just got to wait. He's just got to wait to see how it goes. So I've gone in with my knight to e4 this time with a check. Will he take it? Which he shouldn't do because he's got to try and keep his pieces on the board. No, he's gone back king to e1. And now I've played rook across to f8, getting ready for a pawn pushing down that king side. He's doubled his rooks again. And now I've played bishop b3, which was convenient for me because he moved his rook off of the b file. And he's gone back on the b file, and I can just drop my bishop back to a4, which allows me to even come into b5 at some point if I want to trade off bishops unless he wishes to drop the bishop back, which he does in advance. So now I've brought the other knight into these beautiful square. Both knights now are exceptionally good. There's very little for him here. If he plays f3, it'd be a terribly weakening move. His pawn on e3 will have no protection, and I can attack it. So he's played king to f1. So having done that, I've played h4. I'm coming now to the point where I'm about to come in. I'm preparing to come in. I've been lining things up, getting ready for the big finish, and now I played h5. King e1. I brought the other rook across to e8, and that's it. Everything's in place, I think. Just about in place now to go for it. And he's played knight back to g1. He'd like to go knight to f3 and then into e5 with a check, and he's got something going. But I didn't allow that. I played g4, stopping any kind of chance of going knight f3. So he moved the pawn on so as not to open up any files. And so now is where I come in. Knight to c3. Knight to c3, and this is my attack. It's beginning at long last. So he's gone to g3, and I've played knight takes bishop, rook takes bishop, and then this is where it all ends for him after knight takes pawn on g3. This is bad for him because if he takes a knight, he gets his piece back, but he would drop pawn after pawn after pawn, and my 3 against 1 on the king side will win the day for sure. And he won't be able to stop what's going to happen. I'm not going to go through the lines now, but what happens basically is pawn takes knight, rook takes pawn, check. He moves the king, and then I move the f pawn forward, and then I've got a pawn roller going. He's got his a pawn hanging, which means if he plays rook a1, that rook's out of the game defending that. And it's pretty straightforward. So at this point, Peter resigned, and he just couldn't recover from dropping that piece earlier on through the trap. But as I say, he did win the return game when we played in a Congress a year or so later. So one each, and I was pleased to win this game. It's the first time I ever managed to play this trap, and I have tried it once on somebody else, but they knew it, unfortunately. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll keep on trying to get games too, I promise. So there we are. Thank you very much. Good night.